Hello there, my friends. It's so good to see you, and you're probably wondering, why in the world has Gabriel got a tinfoil hat on his head? Well, I'm going to tell you. First, before we get into it, because we're going to get into it today, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. You're not going to miss where we are getting ready to go. And of course, if you want to get one of these shirts and support a brother, because I haven't been able to tour, the Lord's been taking care of me, but I want to do more of this, and I got the new single I'm working on, Jesus Deserves More Than 4 Chords. It's mapped out, it's coming out in 3 or 4 weeks, so I'd appreciate your support. Okay, now, tinfoil hat. Why you got a tinfoil hat? Well, I'll tell you, it's because it is my personal contention. I believe that if you as a Christian, as a believer and follower of Christ, if you have not already been labeled a conspiracy theorist, guess what? You're about to be. Going back to the beginnings of our faith, from those that they followed the way, all the way back to the days of the ichthus, where they drew the one line and you drew the other line to have the fish, the ichthus. It was an acronym for followers of the faith, and I'll put that down here in the screen. There was only 500 believers that saw the risen Lord. 500. Now, by eyewitness standards, you'd think, man, that's amazing as far as what history's seen, right? Then why in the world are we still questioning the faith when there are professors from, I believe it was Yale, the head professor of theology or New Testament theology, basically some big brain guy with a lot of letters after his name, said the New Testament is 99.7 or something, some high percentage, over 99% authentic historically. Still not a believer, this guy. Can you believe it? So why the tinfoil hat? Well, because we're living in crazy times, my friends. We are living in crazy times with all sorts of crazy things going on around us. And the Lord has his plans. But let me tell you, my friends, Satan has his plans, right? The devil is out there walking around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he might devour, right? So the devil's out here doing his thing. And he's got plans and he has his agents, just like the Lord does. And if you don't think there are people as dedicated to Satan as we have believers dedicated to the Lord, let me tell you, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, or you're going to be in for some deception. And let me tell you what Jesus said. This is where I was reading this morning. I was in the Word and I said, Lord, what do you want me to share in this video? Because I got to keep these things coming. And he said, go to Matthew 24, because I've had this Christians are conspiracy theorists thing in my spirit for a while, for a few weeks, a few months. He said, take heed that no man deceive you. Take heed. Listen to me. Pay attention. It says right here in the Amplified, be careful that no one misleads you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Jim Jones, David Koresh. I don't know who the flavor Messiah of the day. I know there was some guy down in Florida that was saying that he was Christ, come back, and he's in all sorts of nonsense. So this is not a thing that was just happening a couple thousand years ago. This is happening today. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. North Korea, China, Russia. There's been wars and rumors and wars continually since I've been growing up, since the 80s, when we had Iron Eagle, you know, and all those war movies, Iron Eagle and Top Gun, and then we had Desert Storm, and then the Iraqi War and 9/11, and now here we are today. See that you are not troubled.
There will be trouble.
For all these things must come to pass. They must come to pass, but the end is not yet. The end is not yet, my friends. So we're going to sit right there for just a second. He told us all this stuff's going to happen. What are you worried about? Don't worry. We could go back to Matthew 7 where he said, don't worry, don't be anxious for anything, but we're going to stay right here. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, COVID-19, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, my friends. And my fellow believers, some of y'all are twisted up in knots, just tearing up social media, sharing article after article. Did you see this is happening? They're microchipping people in Michigan. This is happening. And I'm with you. I'm with you. I hear you. We need to have our eyes open, but not to the point where it makes you fearful. If you see these things happening and they take you to a place of fear, it needs to take you to one of two places. To a place of joy, because you know he's coming, or to a place of prayer. Those are the only two options, my friend. A place of joy or a place of prayer. That's why God gave us these things. He said, renew your minds. We got to put on the mind of Christ. And now for my anti-conspiracy friends. It says in the Word, it's the glory of God to conceal a thing, the glory of kings to seek them out. So there's nothing wrong with us believers seeking out and knowing and wanting to know what's going on, wanting to understand the plans of the enemy. But believers, it's not so you can share the latest video to your other friends and send them in a messenger, send them in a text. Hey, did you see this thing that happened, and see this thing with this government official being cooked up with this person that owns this company and this globalist person? And yeah, I hear you. But is it making you fearful? Is it making you angry? Or is it just making you aware so you know how to pray? If we are not fasting and praying against these things, my friends, turn it off. You just better turn that thing right off, because these tinfoil hat things that we are being made aware of, it's to know the plan of the enemy so we know how to pray, and it should drive us to prayer and fasting. And not to worry, not to fear,